Welcome back to another episode of Over the Net, a Mizzou volleyball interview series. Kind of a special edition we've got here today for a number of reasons. Number one, Thanksgiving week. Number two, instead of recording from a usual location in Columbia, I'm in my family's basement in Chicago. Number three, today we have Naomi Franco, Mizzou volleyball, with us. Naomi, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, why don't we start with this past week? Going 1-1 down in Mississippi, start with that match against Ole Miss, a 5-set thriller. You know, that's a team that's kind of had the Tigers' number over the past couple of seasons, but, you know, you end up getting that win in 5 sets. One of the things that really stuck out, 20 combined attack errors between the first 3 sets, but only 6 in the final 2, which you won the final 2 sets there. You know, turning it around, what were the keys that led to that change? You know, what allowed the team to really dial back those attack errors in the final 2 sets?
Yeah, well, it's definitely something that we've been working on. Like we always talk in practice, just minimizing errors, letting the other team play the game and let them be the team that makes the errors instead of us, just allowing the game to flow and us being disciplined. So that's something that we always talk about in timeouts, and just like our coaches talk about it, even without them as a team, we talk about it, and just like us on the bench as well, just like what we see and like allowing our hitters to, I guess, have a different point of view of like what's open and stuff that they might not see while they're on the court. It's just something that we always like to communicate. And just, you know, even if we do make those errors, moving on from mistakes is always something that's really important, and just like not being afraid to go back and take another rip. And just another thing we work on a lot is covering. So if you get hit, you hit a ball and then you get blocked, it's just having that defense around you that is, you trust that they'll cover that ball and you go back transition hard and get another kill. It's just something we always work on. It's just supporting each other on the court, off the court, just on the bench, on the court, everything. Just supporting each other and just instilling that confidence in our hitters to keep going and hitting balls and taking smart and confident swings.
And then something that we've heard a lot about over the past 2 seasons, you know, that toughness, that resiliency, that grit. And we've seen that this year, you know, coming back from down 2-1 against Ole Miss, coming back down from 2-1, I believe, against Texas. You know, what gives this team that resiliency, that grit to come from behind and get some of these victories?
Yeah, I think it's just our hunger. It's something that we've been wanting to do ever since Don's got here. It was one of the values that we've had since last year of just working hard. We want to be that NCAA team that is always in the NCAA tournament, just really proving ourselves and showing that we're a force to be reckoned with in the SEC. And it's just something that we always work on in practice, just giving 100%. We always do a word of the day and just honing to our values of working hard, playing hard, and never letting a ball drop without a body dropping with it.
Now, one of the big things in that win, Sierra Dudley coming off the bench, pardon me, some of those effects of I got a cough, folks, but my apologies. Making a big impact, you know, how important is just the really strong amount of depth on this team and the togetherness that you all have?
Yeah, it's so important. It's always like something that we talk about, just everybody being ready, because you never know when you'll get your chance to play, and just honing your moment and taking advantage of the opportunities that you get. Sierra, she did a great job of doing that this weekend. I even told her about it. It's something that I know she's been working really hard on, and just really proud of like her going out there and owning her moment and taking charge of her team on the court. And just same thing for anybody that came off the bench as well, just going out there, seeing the game, owning your moment, and following the game plan. It's always a lovely thing to see, and I just love supporting my underclassmen.
Now, really quality win there at Ole Miss, top 40 in the RPI. That's a quad 1 win. Different story, of course, on Sunday, the 3-1 loss to Mississippi State. You know, is that one of the situations where it's just kind of a weird day? You know, a lot of people are just off at the same time. Or were there any factors that you could kind of really point to in that loss as a key contributing factor?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that question one more time?
Yeah. You know, was it just kind of everybody was having an off day, not really sure why? Or was there one big thing that you could kind of point to as a reason for that loss?
I mean, there's not really one thing I can point to on that loss. I mean, it was a tough loss, obviously, and we felt it, but it's just we've always talked about growing from what we learned, whether that's a win or a loss. And Wendell, one of our coaches, he always says, you never lose, you learn. So we just took it as a way of growth and just learning from that loss and what mistakes we made and what did we do well as well. So it's just not dwelling on the mistakes, but also looking at the stuff that we did that was positive and just using that to build into this next game, because it's going to always help us be better for the next team.
Now, some of those positives, Claire Morrissey, coming up really big in that fourth set, hadn't really played at all since that first Kentucky match. She has 6 kills and a block in that fourth set. What did you see from her on the court?
Yeah, just hunger. That's flat out what it was. She was hungry to get on the court. She works hard every day in practice, and we see it all the time. So, as I said before, everybody that's on the bench, we always think about when your moment comes, don't stray away from it, be confident, just own that moment, and you have no regrets about what you do. So I hands down bow down to Claire. She did an amazing job. She went out there and was confident, especially as a freshman. That's something that's really hard to do, just going out there and letting it rip. And just really proud of her. We support her so much, and just on the bench, we all went crazy for her. She was unstoppable. So it's really nice to see and just a refreshing thing to look at, especially for her as a freshman. So I can't wait to see what she does in the future about that too.
And then one of the other positives from that match, the blocking, 10 blocks, fourth consecutive match with double digits. I believe those are the 4 matches all year that the Tigers have been in that double-digit mark. What's allowed the block to be so successful over the past couple of weeks, and how does that boost the defense as a whole?
Yeah, discipline. That's something that we always work on in practice. Getting back to base fast, working hard to get back to that base so that you're seeing what's in front of you. You want to be in your position, in your spot before that setter even sets the ball, so that you can see what hitters are doing and what's coming at you, and just that communication piece as well. And it's not just front row that needs to communicate, it's back row as well. And us, even on the bench, like, we all communicate. It's something that we always work hard to do, is just seeing the hitter and then waiting for the set and then making a fast, explosive move to that pin or that middle. And just, stuff like that is something that we always work on. And we are getting better and better at it as the season goes. And when it comes to those bigger games, that we'll be ready to get those blocks in, pursue anything off of that block.
Now, something I want to talk about more individually, the way that you've entered the matches this season has been kind of interesting as part of that 6-2 formation where you and Sierra Dudley will enter for Jordan Iliff and Marina Crownover. For the fans that are watching right now or listening right now that don't know what a 6-2 is, can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so basically a 6-2 is where the setter will always be back row, and you'll always have 3 hitters front row. You'll always have an outside, a middle, and a right side. The 6-2 goes, one setter and right side will play 3 rotations where you'll always have the right side front row and the setter back row, and they'll do those rotations 1 through 3, and then when it comes time for the right side to go back and serve, they will switch in with another right side and setter, and the setter will switch for the right side, and the right side will switch for the setter that's coming on. And then that setter will go back to serve for the right side, and the cycle just keeps repeating itself, and you'll always have defense back row, and you're just guaranteed a good block front row as well. And 3 attackers as well. It's always a good thing to have.
Now, you kind of answered my next question, is what does that allow the team to do strategically? But, can you talk a little bit about the strategy behind the 6-2, when Coach Sullivan goes to that look, is that a specific matchup that the team is targeting, or is it more of a looking at the way the match is going, looking for a spark, or just trying to change things up?
It could be a little bit of both. It's always situational. It's always like, what does our team need in that moment? Is it energy? Is it a block? Is it a kill? Like, what do we need in that moment? And just like us being on the bench, just knowing what is my job going onto this court, and how can I give to the 6 people on 5 other people onto the court as a person coming on, that when I leave, we can keep this momentum and keep winning this game. So it's just understanding your job and going out there and executing it as a high level, and just bringing energy with it, as well. Is just always what our goal is. Me and Sierra, whichever setter I come in with, we always look at each other when we're on the bench and we're like, we got this, and we go out there and execute our job, bring energy, and then just supporting each other as well. That's always the goal.
Now, looking at the team as a whole, you've been here for both of Dawn Sullivan's seasons. What are the big differences you see between last year's group and now this year's group?
I want to say energy. I think and I give this to our freshman class because they have come in and just have turned up the heat so much. They're competitive, and they've just brought so much energy with them. And it's really turned our team around in practice. We love to compete, and just energy on the bench, energy on the court. Like, we just love to be a force that bulldozes through other teams, and that's what we always strive to do. So just, I guess what's different this year is just our hunger to win. I feel like it was always intense last year, but we found a way this year to crank up the heat even more. And we want to achieve the goals that we set as a team, and just everybody's on board truly. And that's really what's different. And I feel it even more this year than I did last year. And it's an amazing thing to see. And I can't wait to see what we do next.
You talked about the energy from the freshmen, and in the matches, I feel like you and Kamani Johnson have a lot of fun there on the bench, hyping the team up. And one of the freshmen that's really taken that to a big level is Grace Sweeney. Can you talk about her contributions on the bench and the energy she brings to the team?
Oh my gosh, the almighty Sween. She brings so much energy. And you think you see it in games only. No, she does it 24/7 in practice and games. She hypes herself up. She hypes other teammates up. Even in practice, there'll be times where she's on the other side of the court and playing for one team, and a person on the other side of the court will get a kill and she'll cheer for them. I'm looking at her like, Grace, they're not on your team right now, but she's just 100% always supporting our team. On the bench, she gives so much energy. I'm pretty sure like half the cheers we come up with are just come straight from her brain, and we all just follow her lead. She's always a loud voice on the bench. She's always communicating whenever she can, and she just brings energy. And it's a hard thing to do all season, and she's just stayed consistent. So I commend her for it. She does an amazing job.
What's your favorite cheer from this season?
My favorite cheer?
Yep.
Ooh. There's so many. There is one. This one's from Grace that she did at the beginning of the season. I've been trying to convince her to bring it back. She'll like dive out onto the court and she'll start swimming, and I thought it was so funny. And she dives so well, and she catches distance too. It's an amazing thing, and I want her to bring it back, but we'll see. I've been trying to convince her to do it. I even told her I'll do it with her, and I can't dive at all, so I'll look a fool, but she'll look amazing. And that's just probably one of my favorite cheers. And I don't know, just everything we do. I love all the cheers we do. And just, it's like we flow off of each other. It's an amazing thing. I find it so fun.
Okay. I'll have to make sure to look out for that then, the last couple of matches. Yeah, I'll keep my eye out for that.
Yes, I'm going to tell her.
Now, I talked about the changes between last year and this year. But, we've seen a lot of development from the team, I feel like, over the course of this season. Where do you think that there have been the biggest changes over the course of this year with the team?
I feel like the biggest changes have been just in, like, our ability to execute. It's something that we always have been working on, but our work has definitely paid off now. It was something we always wanted to do. And in the beginning of the season, it was always remembering the game plan, following it, studying it outside of practice, outside of times we do film, all that stuff. So just everybody being very intentional about knowing what the other team is doing, knowing how to attack the other team, knowing how to defend the other team as well. It's just something that we've always wanted to work on. And you see it a lot more now than the execution of that a lot more now than it was at the beginning of the season. So it's just something that has always been growing, and I love to see it every day because we do it in practice. And then when we work hard in practice, it shows in games, and that's how we win.
A key to this team has been, Coach Sullivan always emphasizes family and sisterhood, and you've been a part of that for 2 seasons now. What do those terms mean to you, and what's a memory you have? What do you think about them?
Yeah, family just means endearment. I feel like this is something that even at Syracuse was always on my mind. I had 2 upperclassmen at Syracuse that took me under their wing and really guided me through that process. It's hard to believe, but when my freshman year, I didn't talk that whole first semester. And I had 2 upperclassmen that just stayed with me through that whole time. And I finally ended up talking, and they kept embraced whoever I was, no matter if I was weird, no matter if I was shy, or just whoever I was, they embraced me. And that left a big impression on me. So when I transferred here, it was something that I wanted to do for the underclassmen that were going to be under me. So just being a senior and a 5th year I just wanted to make sure that I did my job of embracing those underclassmen. And obviously everybody was new. So just like showing my personality, showing it's okay to be yourself, showing it's okay to, show those flaws that you have and those goofy sides that you think are embarrassing, but that's what you're loved for. So just stuff like that. And I think that just all of us being new really brought that on. Dawn also did a really good job of just instilling discipline and rules of like those values that we have and having us understand, sorry, I'm getting a cough too, but understand those values that we have and just embracing the roles that each of us share. Sorry. And just embracing that. And it's just grown since last year. Last year was the foundation. Now we're just building off of it.
And speaking of that bond again, someone that you have a really tight bond with is Kamani Johnson. She talked about it a lot in your senior video, how close you two are. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, me and Kamani, we were roommates last year, and it was so funny because when we first met each other, it was so awkward, but she's grown to be a little sister to me. A little sister I never had because in my family, I'm the youngest, so it's funny that just the dynamic that we have. She always comes to me for advice, and she sees me at my worst moments, and I see her at her worst, and that's just helped us grow stronger. I think she's an amazing player, and sometimes it's hard for her to see that in herself, but just me being able to be there and remind her of the greatness that she is, even when she's down, I love to see it because I love watching her play, and I'm sad that I have to leave her, but I just know that she's going to achieve great things, and just the way that she's grown as a player, and not just as a player, as a person too. It's just something I've always admired. She loves the people around her, and she takes care of those around her as well. And I think she just has so much to give. And every year she opens, not every year, just every month, she really does open up more. And she just keeps growing into this player that I feel by the end of her senior year, she's not even going to recognize herself anymore. She's going to be just this amazing person that's grown so much, and not just as a player, but as a person too.
This next question is kind of a big one. So if you want to think about it for a minute and then come back to it, that's fine. But favorite memory from this season, favorite memory overall from your time at Mizzou.
Okay. Favorite memory from the season was our win against Texas. That was something that we were all hungry for. We had been talking about it all week. As soon as we finished that last game, we were like, okay, next. This is the game that we have been waiting for. Obviously, it was Marina's homecoming. We wanted to win that, not just for her, but for ourselves too. Obviously, Texas is new to the SEC, and they were the champions last year. So we wanted to come in and show that we don't care who you are. We know who we are. We're going to come here and we're going to play at a high level because that's how we expect ourselves to be, and that's how we expect ourselves to play. And that was just, everybody wanted it. It didn't matter if you played or if you didn't play. We all wanted that win, and everybody was hungry for it. And just seeing the environment, especially that Texas environment of us just not backing down, and we were confident the whole time that we were going to win that match. And it was just amazing thing to be a part of. I was sweating on the bench, and if I felt warm, I felt hot. Everybody wanted it. So that was just such an amazing a blessing to be a part of. And let me think. A favorite memory, you said at Mizzou overall?
Yeah.
Let me think. Oh, our game against Florida. Even though we didn't win that game, I felt like that record crowd attendance that we had, I was so happy to see it. We have been working, Dawn and our coaching staff have been working so hard since last season to, fill seats at Hearns and just really bring everybody to see Mizzou volleyball, because we knew we were great. Now we want Columbia to know that we're great. And it was just such an amazing thing to see, just like all the fans there. We finally, when we turned the lights off and we were going through our hype video and our lineup, it was just a beautiful thing to see. And I was so glad that I got to witness that before I graduate.
Now, I've got some more, off the court or sillier questions, but before we get to that, I do have one more that's a little bit more serious. Late December, you're a high school, you're on the way to volleyball practice, where you had a medical emergency, you had to go to the emergency room, and I believe had a brain hemorrhage that required surgery, spent multiple weeks in the hospital. But incredibly, you're actually back playing volleyball. Not only that, but college D1 volleyball, played 7 of 8 matches less than a year after the incident. Can you talk about just the process of that recovery and what lessons did you learn from going through that experience?
Yeah, definitely. It's so funny that you bring it up too, because that year after I had that brain injury, I was like, well, now I'm definitely going to redshirt that first year. But then COVID happened, and obviously that 2020 season didn't count towards that eligibility. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to work my butt off. And if my coach thinks that I should play, I'm going to step out on that court and I'm going to own it. And that's what ended up happening. But definitely just that whole process, I think it was something that was needed. I feel like before that, I felt like I was very much at the top. I was out on a high. I felt like I was going D1. I was feeling myself a lot. And just that brain injury was like just a way of life telling me to slow down. And it was a very much needed slowdown because life was progressing. And just when that happened, it changed my perspective on a lot of stuff. It made me value my life more and made me value this sport more because I could have easily have lost all of that. And just value like the things that I have, the family that I have, the support system that I have. I valued it so much more. And then even the support system that I didn't even know was there. In Georgia, the club volleyball community supported me so much. Just my club coaches too. I don't know if you know this, but there was like my club coach. She ended up making a GoFundMe for me to help pay for the hospital bills. And just when I went through and I read like the comments and stories under each donation, it was just such an amazing thing to see. People that I didn't even know knew me were out there reaching out and just donating, and it was such a blessing. I think that was probably one of the first times that I cried, but it wasn't for myself. It was for just what was things I was blessed with. And after that, it just motivated me to work harder. After that happened, I made it a goal for myself. No matter what, I'm getting out of here. I'm walking out of here on my own 2 feet, and I'm going to be the fastest recovery that they've ever seen. And that's exactly what happened. And then just going to play college volleyball, it was terrifying, but it was COVID, and everybody on my team, even when I had my brain injury, they supported me. My coach supported me. He came to visit me while I was there, which was a surprise, but he came down and I was scared I was going to lose my scholarship, but he reassured me that he wasn't going anywhere. He trusts me and he's confident in my abilities. And that's something that's very rare for a coach to do, but I appreciate it and I value it so much because he could have easily just said, no, we want to find somebody else. And he still took a chance on me. And that's a hard thing to do as a coach, but he did. And just after that, I just kept going, just kept working, just kept having that support system, not just from home, but now from my team too, that just helped me motivate me to keep going.
Now, I've got some more fun questions for you. This is definitely not your first experience with media. You've been a pretty big part in a lot of the fun, different videos that volleyball's put out on social media in between matches. Most recently, you were part of another mic'd up video. How did you start getting involved with all this different media content the team puts out?
I don't even know, honestly. It's just, I find it so fun. I've always wanted to do a mic'd up. Ever since I've gone to college, I've always wanted to do a mic'd up. So I've been sitting here, I've been manifesting it to everybody. So when the opportunity came up, I was like, if you do a mic'd up with anybody besides me, I'm going to be very angry. And so they ended up doing that first mic'd up with me last year when we played against LSU. And it was so much fun. I think I was pretty much distracted that whole practice talking to myself. If you ask people on our team, they'll tell you that I never stopped talking. I would be standing there by myself talking to myself. I had nothing positive or anything worthwhile to say to anybody else. It was just me talking to a ball or me talking to a camera that I didn't even know where it was at. But just stuff like that and just opportunities to show my personality. That's something that I've really been trying to work on as well, is just like growing my ability to be social and just, it's okay to be yourself, even if it's on camera or in person with other people, just showing those sides of yourself, showing that Mizzou volleyball is fun. And I'm not the only person on my team like this. We have so many personalities on here and you're just getting a glimpse of mine. And I hope and I'm manifesting that somebody is going to take this role next year and just really put their personality out there on social media just to show that Mizzou volleyball, we can be serious, but we also can have fun.
What's your favorite video you've been a part of?
The mic'd up have to be. And It's a hard one because it's between the mic'd up and then the GoPro, the POV that we did in Nebraska. Those are my top two. Both of them are so fun. The GoPro was definitely a different experience, but I feel like it just, especially during that first round, in my first time personally being in the tournament, I think it lightened the mood and made practice so much more fun and just reminded us like, yes, we're here and we deserve our spot to be here, but don't forget who we are. We're a team that has fun and we also get down to business.
And then something else that's fun we've learned about this year is you have a very full apartment living alongside Sarah White and Michael Vernon, and then gymnastics, Amari Celestine. I talked to Michael earlier this year, and she said there are a lot of different cats and dogs in the apartment, and at that point, they were not getting along that well. Are the cats and dogs getting along better at this point, or are they still kind of fighting a little bit?
I think we've just given up at this point. I've genuinely tried. I will say we keep them separate. I think we'll put the cats together. I have one cat. His name's Ash. He's my son. I love him so much. He's the cutest little black cat. He'll play with Michael's cats a lot, and we'll leave them together sometimes. They get along. But Amari lives upstairs with me, and whenever she lets her dogs out, my cat, he'll run up to the door and he'll sit on the other side of the door and he'll take his little paw and he'll reach it under the door. And one of Amari's dogs will be on the other side and just sitting there looking at it. And you just see he's like shoulder deep into the door. I'm looking at him, I was like, you're gonna get bit. And he does it every time. Whenever I open the door, whenever I'm going upstairs, and Amari's dogs are out, they know that I'm going upstairs and they know Ash is in there, so they'll wait for me and they'll run upstairs and wait at my door for me to open it. But I think we've just given up on introducing them at this point. We wanted to get a family photo with all of us, but it hasn't worked out too well yet. So I don't know. It is a really full apartment, but there's always laughs, there's always good times, and there's always a story. But we keep them separate for the most part. Unfortunately, I wish in a dream world they could all like just coexist in my head.
What's been your favorite part of living with that group?
Just how random it is. I feel like we're just the most random bunch, but we all somehow get along. Like our personalities just mesh so well with each other. Like we vibe well. We all like animals. Even though me and Michael have cats, we still love Amari's dogs, and vice versa. Even though Amari has dogs, she loves our cats, and it's just such an amazing group. Sarah is a dog person, but whenever she's around our cats, she treats them like dogs. She'll want to play with them like they're dogs, and it's so funny watching them interact because the cats will just stare at her like, what is this girl doing? And she's just out there wanting to hype them up. But it's just such an amazing dynamic, and I think we all love to chill, but we all like to, have fun at the same time. So it's just a great group, and it just worked out so well for us too.
Now, recently, you and Sarah White were at the gymnastics scrimmage supporting Amari. What did you think of how the team's looking this year?
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I don't know much about gymnastics. I've been trying to learn. I'll like sit with people that know stuff, and I'll be like, tell me what's happening. But no, I think they're going to be amazing. The freshmen, I don't really know too much, but they looked amazing. I love floor routines, and I thought all of them were 10s. The freshman class, I thought they did an amazing job. I think they really have some really athletic girls out there. I can't wait to see what they do in season as well. I'm always going to hype up my girl, Amari. I think she always does an amazing job. I just love her concept, and I just love the personality the brand that she has for herself as a gymnastics athlete. I think it's a beautiful thing, especially for Black women. I think that she wants Black girls to embrace themselves, embrace their hair, embrace their culture. And I think she just does an amazing job about that. And even before we started living together, when I first went to a gymnastics meet last year, I was like, I didn't know her yet. And I was like, I saw her afro. I'm like, who is she? I want to get to know her. I think she's an amazing person. And then after that, our relationship has grown since then. And she's just an amazing person on the mat, and then just off the mat as well. I just love her to death. Like, she's amazing.
Was that your first gymnastics meet? And then have you been to any others since?
I have. I went to 3 last year, and this year, this first meet was the first meet of the season. That was the one I went to. So I've gone to a couple. I've loved them all. I went to that one where we had that upset against LSU. Yep. Last year when they had that full house. I didn't know what was happening. Everybody wanted to leave, but I was like, no, I'm staying. I'll cheer when everybody cheers because I know that means we won. And I was so happy to see just all of them be out there and compete. I was cheering. I feel like I understood it a bit more at that time too. So I knew when we were doing good. I support my girl Jossie Moore. Hannah was out there doing her thing too. Obviously Amari. And just everybody. I don't know. It's just like an amazing thing to see. I will always watch gymnastics now, especially like that was my goal. I wanted to go to sports that I hadn't seen before in person. So gymnastics was top on my list. I was so happy that I got to just experience that Mizzou gymnastics.
One of the other things that I want to ask you about before focusing back on this week, and this is one that I ask a lot of the different athletes who were multi-sport athletes in high school. You also lettered in basketball and lacrosse. What's your favorite sport outside of volleyball, and what sport would you have most likely played in college, if not volleyball?
Oh my gosh. I was talking about this today. I think it would have probably been lacrosse. I liked lacrosse a lot. I played it up until I got to high school. It was probably one of the sports I stuck with the longest. I really liked it. I loved running around. The reason I ended up cutting it was because it was too cold outside and I didn't like running. But that would be a sport that I probably would have tried in college. And just if I didn't play volleyball, I'd probably still try to play that one. It was really fun. So.
And then focusing back on this week, 2 more matches to close out the regular season, both of them at the Hearn Center. What are going to be some of the keys to the matches this week?
Yeah, not backing down. We obviously have some tough opponents coming up, but just knowing who we are and knowing that no matter what team we face, we know what Mizzou volleyball is all about. And it doesn't matter what team's against us, we will go out there and execute at a high level. And that's always been the goal. That's always been the vision. And just executing our game plan, being disciplined in everything that we do, and just playing to our standard is always something that we want to do. So at the end of the day, no matter what happens, it's us against them, and that's all that matters. And we're going to play like us, and what we do, we're going to outwork every team that comes against us, and that's always been the goal.
And heading into this final week, tournament seeding kind of still up in the air. Is that something that's kind of in the back of your mind as you're playing these final 2 matches, or something you're trying to kind of push out and ignore until Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's something that's always going to be there. It's always going to be a question, but what we always say is what matters most is the game that's next. And the next game we have is against Kentucky, so that's what we're focusing on. The tournament will come when it comes, and we'll be there waiting and ready to play whichever team we're set up against. But right now, our goal is Kentucky, and then after that, when we play Kentucky, we're going to execute our game plan, and then we're going to move on and we're going to play Auburn, and we're going to execute that game plan, and then we'll see what happens after that. But we're a team that focuses on game by game, play by play, so we're going to focus on what's next, not what's in the future. Even though we know it's coming, we're focusing on what we have to deal with now.
And then as we wrap up the interview, is there anything else you'd like to say to Mizzou fans?
Yeah. Everybody watches women's sports. Everybody watches Mizzou volleyball. We are a team and a force to be reckoned with. And Don Sullivan has done a good job of growing this program. And we've done a good job of growing this program, too. It's not just the coaching staff, but the players as well. We all work hard. We always want to show what our standard is and what our brand is. So keep watching Mizzou volleyball. Keep following our journey. We are a team that is scrappy and we are ready to compete. We have personalities too. So just keep watching us, keep supporting us. Mizzou is truly a college town and they support their athletes so much. And we appreciate all the fans that we have. And shout out to Mini Mizzou, our Mini Mizzou band. They show up to every game and they are so loud. They were our student section even before we got a student section. So we just support them so much, and we support all the fans that come and watch us and all the campers that come back too from summer and come to watch us during the game. So just keep supporting us, and please show out for this Wednesday and Sunday because it's senior night. It's our last home game. So please come out.
2 more opportunities to see the Tigers in the regular season, both at Hearn Center. Wednesday, a showdown with number 12 Kentucky, and then the final match of the regular season Saturday after the Battle Line game against Arkansas. You can head over to the Hearn Center, 7:30 p.m. against Auburn. Both those coming before Selection Day on Sunday. We'll have coverage of all that over at Rock M Nation. This has been Over the Net, a Mizzou volleyball interview series with Naomi Franco. Thank you so much, Naomi, for coming on the show today. And once again, thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and the benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.